Hi there, welcome to Floating in Dreams. Today's video is going to be a battle of the Pat McGrath palettes. Welcome to everybody watching today. Thank you so very much for joining me. This video is going to be a new series that I'm doing for 2024. Well, it's not that new because if you've been to this channel before, then you may remember that I was doing a video series that I called The Battle of the Palettes, where I picked 4 palettes with a similar color story, trying to decide which one was going to be the best. So blue palettes, purple palettes, and then it dawned on me as I was brainstorming ideas for the new year that I hadn't done this per brand. So I'm bringing back Battle of the Eyeshadow palettes, and today we're kicking things off with Pat McGrath. In case you're new here and you've never been to one of my videos, then hi, my name is Maaike, I live in the Netherlands, I have fair skin with a cool to neutral undertone, and this greatly influences how I feel about makeup. I have been reviewing makeup for more than a decade. I love trying eyeshadow palettes as a Catrice and getting the use out of my makeup. So let's get to this video. We are bringing back a video I used to do, however, I want to make sure that the brands I include are brands where I have 5 or more eyeshadow palettes from that brand, so we can do a nice little tournament style video. So I will be inserting some overviews every single time when I determine which palette is going to the next round, to sort of visualize for you how it's going to go. And then I'm going to take the best one from those rounds, pick again until we get to the _1 Pat McGrath palette. I thought it could be fun to change it up and to do things in a slightly different way. For me, I wanted to do it in a slightly different way, so that's what we're going to do. I drew a nice little overview for myself before I sat down to film the video, and as I mentioned, I'll make sure to insert a little overview every now and again as I'm talking to you about this to visualize what I'm actually talking about. So our first corner is, because I have 9 Pat McGrath eyeshadow palettes, I had an uneven number, and I was like, you know what? It just makes sense to put all 3 of my motherships up against one another. Now, the Pat McGrath motherships are, of course, the most expensive ones in the range. They're big, they're bulky, they're heavy, they're not travel friendly. So, are these my favorite Pat McGrath palettes? I don't think so, because I used to have more. If you're familiar with my makeup collection, I actually decluttered 2 of my mothership palettes. I had the Divine Rose 1 and the Divine Rose 2, and I just felt that some of the palettes that came after those were a bit better for my fair skin. Divine Rose 1 was far too warm tone on me. There were only a few shades I liked. Pulled those out, and I gave the rest of the palette away to someone else. And the Divine Rose 2 didn't quite work for me either, so I gave that to a friend. So there's that. However, a palette you've seen me talking about before is the first mothership that was ever around, which is the Subliminal, the Mothership 1. Love this box. I really like the design of it. And inside is one of my favorite all-time cool tone palettes, which is, this is the black box, you have the beveled mirror, and then you have these shades. Let me hold it up close so you can see. So yeah, stunning shades. Really, really pretty. Of the motherships I have that I used to own before, this is the palette I've always kept around because I just really enjoy these shades. Now, Pat McGrath does a gold in every single one of the motherships. There's always this champagne shade as well. Could do without it, to be quite fair. So I don't think the motherships are going to be my favorite, to be quite fair. But in this one, a really nice taupe shade. I really love these 3 shades. And then I really enjoy these 3 shades as well. I don't really go for this. I don't really go for that sort of bronzy brown. It is a nice, taupey shade if you want to, blend something out, but I wouldn't use it all over my lid. Then, the other one I still have is the Utopian Dream. Really, really nice packaging here again. Mine came broken in the mail. This is just how the box came. That's something I have found whenever I've ordered through the official Pat McGrath website, is that because there's a little bit of space between the palette, and because the palette is so heavy, as it's being shipped, the palette kind of knocks around in that little box, and the carton is just not going to hold because these are so heavy. The Utopian Dream I kept over the Divine Rose 2 because I just felt that these shades worked better for me than the Divine Rose 2 did. What I like about it is that these peaches aren't too warm toned. They pull a little pinky on me. So essentially it's like the lighter version of the Divine Rose 2. That's the way I feel. Again, that gold, again, that champagne. Could do without it, but overall, this is quite a nice, like, peachy pink sort of color story for me. And then you sort of get these, like, pinky lavenders to top things off, and you do get that multi-chrome that Pat McGrath is known for doing as well. So this was a very successful one for me, but I'm not a huge fan of pinky peaches on myself, so I only have a very short window where I would like to go for something like this, which is like the springtime. And the rest of the year, I'm not really drawn to that kind of color story. And then the final mothership I have is the Moonlit Seduction. I like this box a little bit less than the other two. I don't know why. This was the 10th one we have. There's now also a Sunlit Seduction, which is essentially the deeper toned version of this, I feel. And in here is the palette I decided to keep over the Divine Rose one. I just feel that Pat McGrath color stories are very sort of overlapping, and they're not that unique. You really don't need the entire range. Again, the champagne. Again, like, there's less of a gold in here, but this pulls a bit more bronze on me, I'd say. And you do get these, like, rosy tones. I love this shimmer. I love the darker brown in here. This is really pretty, even though it's, like, a little bit of a goldy shade as well. Like, I really enjoy these three, though. Like, the three, like, more intense shimmers, you could say. It's got a really nice blend of both warm tones and cool tones that works really well on my more neutral undertones, so that's why I do really enjoy this. But if I had to pick, I would go with Subliminal. So the one we're passing on to the next round is going to be the Pat McGrath Mothership 1 Subliminal. So that was round 1. For round 2, I decided to group these together. I have 2 of the Blitz Astral quads, and this was my first introduction, actually, to Pat McGrath, because the brand is so expensive, and I did want to try them, but was I gonna shell out 120 something, by now it's 130 something for a palette in the motherships, because that's what all we had at the time. But then she came out with this for her Christmas collection. So this is the Blitz Astral Quad in Nocturnal Nirvana. And I was at that time in my colorful phase, which I'm wearing quite a colorful eye today with a bit of pink and blue. Was feeling it today. But here we have the Nocturnal Nirvana quad from Pat McGrath. Really pretty shades. They don't work by themselves. You need mattes to make these work. There's just something about this formula that didn't stay put. So my initial introduction to Pat McGrath wasn't that positive. I was like, these are supposed to be the special shades that everybody's raving about, and this is what I get for my money? I was very disappointed, and it's definitely a palette that I really had to work hard for in order to get to know it a little bit better and to figure out how to use it. Again, the gold. You'll see. There's a lot of golds in Pat McGrath palettes, and they're always yellow toned. The Moonlit Seduction is the happy exception, I would say. But yeah, the purple, the green, and the blue in here are really nice. The blue is like a brown sort of undertone, and it kind of has like a purpley kind of flip. So those 3 more colorful shades go together really well. If I use this palette, I use my bronzer as a crease shade because these don't really do very well in my crease. They just don't last. Like within 2 hours, these shadows disappear if I don't use them with mattes. So it will come as no surprise that of the 2 Astral Quads, the one that I like best is the Ritualistic Rose one. This one I got later. I believe, I don't remember where I got the other one. Did I buy it when I was in New York before the pandemic? Could have been. Not entirely sure. But there was supposed to be 3 palettes, but in store at the time, like looking at it, I remember only being able to see 2. And the one I really wanted was this one. It's, again, like a very warm toned. Again, we get the gold. We have the bronze in here as well. And then you have these 2, like, rosy shades. These did work for me without anything else. Like, I don't need to go in with my bronzer in order to make this work. Maybe it just has to do with the colors. I don't know. Could be a formulation thing as well. And this is when I was like, yeah, Pat McGrath can do really nice things. So of these two, I'm going to have to pick this one to go on to the next round. And then we're moving on to round number 3, which is between some of the quads. Now I have one collection that I've bought in full where I have 3 of them, but I wanted to make sure I was able to pair off my quads in nice even numbers. So that's why I'm doing like the pastel-y pinky ones together, and then 2 of the more grungy things, because I thought that would be fairest in order to really be able to have a choice and like make it difficult for myself. I never kept the boxes for that full collection I have. I now wish I did, because if you just have a bunch of Pat McGrath palettes and you've thrown away the boxes, you're never going to be able to tell them apart in your collection. Like, I always need to store these in a certain order so that I know what I'm grabbing for. These are, of course, now it's like mixed up, Fleur Fantasia and Risque Rose. So Fleur Fantasia, Fleur Fantasia is again peachy pinks, but with a pop of lavender, and yes, a yellow tone gold. Like it's never ending. Really enjoys these 3 shades if I want to go for like that spring vibe. It's like the smaller version of the Utopian Dream, you could say. And the reason why I was able to get rid of my Divine Rose too is because I felt I had that very strong pink in the Risque Rose. For me, whenever I reach for these, I kind of combine them together. I kind of feel like I want that bright pink in here and I want the peach in here. That's sort of how it works. This has a really beautiful intense shimmer in that this one has in the pink. So they mix and match really, really well, I have to say. For me, it's very much more about wearability. Like this, I can't really wear by itself. This I can. So that's why to go on to the next round, I would go for Fleur Fantasia. But again, very small window when I would be interested in wearing something like this. This is more of like a spring vibe for me as well, just like the Utopian Dream. So that was round number 3. And for our final first round, you could say, I have 2 of my favorites from Pat McGrath. And like I said, I wanted to make it difficult for myself. I have Interstellar Icon, or Interstellar Icon, which is this one, which came from that other set that the other 2 came from that I just showed you. And this is so grungy. And I didn't think I was going to love this, but of the 3, this ended up being my favorite. And till this day, I think it's one of the more unique things I have. It's grungy, it's got some ethereal shades, you can go really deep with it, and dark and smoky, but these blend really nicely to the point where you can sheer it out beautifully, and it will look perfect as well. My favorite shade is this really nice, like grungy, greeny brown, together with that burgundy, which is a matte. Chef's kiss. It's really, really beautiful. And we're putting it up against the palette I can never remember the name of. It's the Venus in Fleurs Look Squad in Voyeuristic Vixen. I always want to call it the Fleur Vixen. So much easier. And to me, it's sort of like the updated version of the Ritualistic Rose. Because I do feel those 2 perhaps have a bit of a similar vibe, but we're going to have to see in a minute, perhaps. So if I put these side by side, I'm going to have to make a choice. Ooh, like just for uniqueness, I would go with Interstellar Icon still. But I love the way this looks on the lids. Like if I want to go for something a little bit more warm toned, this is a really, really good one. And it very nicely complements the Moonlit Seduction. Yeah, because again, this doesn't really have that strong gold. It does have that peach, which is the strongest shimmer, and it's got a gold flash, but it's like green, gold, peach flash sort of thing. And this one is wearable, and this is like the fun grungy thing. I'm gonna go fun grunge. That's the one I'm choosing. Ah! That's the one I'm gonna be choosing. So sad that I'm gonna say, like, because this one, like, if I had to just blindly pick and tell you like my favorite Pat McGrath palette, it would probably be this one. Like just off of like bias and not like comparing things. I would probably go for this because of wearability and like ease of use, and I would definitely go for this one. But the Interstellar Icon one is just a little bit more special. So now we're gonna have to combine rounds 1 and 2 and take my favorite from round 1 and my favorite from round 2 to decide which one of these is the best. So round 1's winner was Subliminal, round 2's winner was Ritualistic Rose. A part of me now wishes I kept in the other one that I just said, like, I was like, oh, I'm gonna pick the other one over this one. But yeah, of the two, I still think the Subliminal is gonna be the winner here, simply because like this is just instantly what I'm drawn to. I prefer cool tones on me over these like warm pinky things, so for me, this is where my heart lies. This palette has made it in like top 10s of like favorite cool tone palettes and favorite palettes of all time as well, so that one, it's just a solid favorite. This one, still lovely, love Ritualistic Rose, but if I just judge it by something I really truly adore, I would still pick the Subliminal over this one. And then of course, I need to choose between round 3 and 4, which is Flora Fantasia and Interstellar Icon. This one for sure, like again, just because it's so unique. Like this, I think I can dupe this in my collection. I don't think it is as unique, even though, you know, that pinky shimmer, like, do you see that purpley flash it has? It's so beautiful, it's so beautiful, but I did almost declutter this. Like this and the Risque Rose last year, I put on my declutter pile because it was like, I'm not reaching for these. Do I still need them? And then I was like, oh, I can't get rid of a Pat McGrath palette, and I kept it. So Interstellar Icon is the choice here. And then we need to choose our ultimate winner of my Pat McGrath palettes. Ooh. I prefer how portable this is in that it's not so heavy and still easy to work with. However, this has all the shades I love. And it's got special shades, and it's got the amazing Pat McGrath matte formula. This just works better for me. So, sad to say, Interstellar Icon, as unique as you are, my perfect Pat McGrath palette is the Pat McGrath Subliminal Mothership one. Yay! Like nice, like little, like yay fanfare kind of sound effect. That's what I should add here. But yeah, this is the one that I wins my little Pat McGrath tournament. It's the Subliminal one. Is it a surprise to anyone that this one won? Now that I've done this whole thing, I'm like, maybe not. Maybe it's not that much of a surprise, but this is a series I hope you really enjoyed because I would like to continue doing it once a month on this channel with loads of different brands. I'm thinking Natasha Denona might be next, but let me know in a comment down below what brands you would like me to feature. Remember, my stipulation for featuring a brand like this in this little tournament is that I need to have 5 or more palettes. I'm thinking like 6, like 8 or more would even be better because then I have like nice little categories to chat about, but for now, 5 or more will do, and then I can set up a little tournament like this, and then we can decide together which palette is the best one. So thank you so very much for joining me today in this video. Thumbs it up if you liked it, subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more by me. I make several videos every single week, so if you'd like to stay tuned for more, and then I hope to see you in my next one. Bye-bye!